Hello, dear friends. Welcome to Cardiac Radio, where we are here to nourish our souls. I am Norah, the host of this program, Pages of Hope. It's another Thursday and another opportunity to just be in gratitude. Today's excerpt is entitled A Lecture on Compassion by Meimei, and it is in the Spiritist magazine, issue 52. This is such a beautiful excerpt that it's worth reading it together. A lecture on compassion. As the mentor finished the valuable lesson, he spoke with simplicity. To assist safely in the human trails, it is necessary that compassion be the basis for every attitude. No exasperation leads to benevolence. Any destructive observation is a disturbing agent in the field of the good works. Let us surrender ourselves to the sowing of love without expecting any tribute of gratitude in return. Reincarnated spirits bear a heavy burden of tribulation so that it may be permissible to torment them with admonitions and censures. Almost always they suffer and cry. A person shows a high level of vigor, however, carries the disadvantages of being impulsive. The other one has achieved economic security, but carries a hidden illness that restrains movement. Another accumulated an enormous fortune, however, laments the pitiful imbalance of their descendants. Many others who were careless yesterday, today lament the loss of unforgettable close beams. This one conquered fame, yet is turned over to solitude. Another gained influence and power over thousands of people, however, needs to lean on a friendly heart in order to not fall under the weight of his or her own obligations. The other one is wise, but needs to rely on someone so as not to succumb to the demands of community life. And many others stand out in beauty and intelligence, yet cherish the negative desires that bring them closer to illness and death. Compassion for all is what the Lord of Life asks of us. Once the instructor finished the elucidations, a companion approached him and asked, "Professor, is there perhaps a process by which we can easily install compassion within ourselves?" The mentor smiled kindly and finished off, "Friend, compassion is the fruit of discernment. How many of us in this room have already crossed the human roads and consequently know the price to work for the good in the constraints and difficulties of the physical plane? For this reason, let us remember the lesson of Jesus that those who have already passed through the way of humanity with the greatness of angels cast the first stone." And so as we can see, dear friends, this is a very beautiful excerpt calling us to be compassionate, which is very nice, very current in the times today. We can see compassion, as we read here, is not a rigid set of conditions, right? It's not me giving and expecting a return. It is not about being the most enlightened, the most spiritist, the most giving, the most religious, the most saint, or the most of anything. This lecture by Meimei denatures or breaks apart these societal norms, right? Compassion doesn't even need to be strictly human. We need to dematerialize our thoughts thinking that compassion is only a spiritist doing charity for an organization. Compassion is everywhere and in everything. As Meimei writes, to be compassionate, we just need the fruit of discernment. And this discernment, as defined in the dictionaries to gain perception for obtaining spiritual guidance and understanding. That's it. It's a heart. It's being aware. It's loving, right? So when we are in this vibration, we start to become aware. Our hearts will naturally guide us to the path where we need to be. Meimei also points out examples where someone might be overcoming one area or show an understanding, but on the other end still needs to fine tune or work at something, right? finalizing with, let us remember the lesson of Jesus that those who have already passed through the way of humanity with the greatness of angels cast the first stone, and none of us can cast that stone, correct? Right? Because this is really a call for us to do an introspection of ourselves and our lives, to find how can I engage with compassion and not be so concerned about being so perfect or receiving anything or bounding or constricting compassion to all of these things that we have set in our society, but rather we are called to be in this together, to love, to respect, tolerate, accept, to listen, to help each other without any judgment, to observe nature. I was reading a book, friends, called The Book of Hope by Jane Goodall. And she shares this really inspirational story of a little robin, a little bird species, the Chatham Island black robin of New Zealand, which was brought back from the edge of extinction with the help of Dr. Don Merton, a wildlife biologist. These birds were going extinct because they didn't have a built-in predator response. So Dr. Merton only had 7 birds and a chance to mate them on an offshore island. One pair of these special robins, yellow and blue, made a huge difference. Blue, the female, began laying eggs. Old Blue lived to be 13 years, and that courageous mama bird saved by laying so many eggs and everything, saved the species, and now they have more of these black robins. It's a simple story of courage, love, and giving. But it's a little piece of compassion that definitely goes a long way, right? Just like Old Blue. So for us this evening, this morning, or whenever, what is your story of compassion? What is my story of compassion? And we thank Meimei for such a beautiful lesson. And now we're going to sing. All right, dear friends, let's sing Amazing Grace. I All right, dear friends, let's remember to pray, to be compassionate, find ways to be compassionate, not focus on how big, how small, define it, nothing. Let's not constrict it, but let this compassion be free and set the world free. Until next week, dear friends, many blessings.